Hello, welcome to today's video diary for finding my way with Pi, purpose, intention, and emotion. I am Pi, and I am going to be trying this hybrid technique for approaching my goals. So a few weeks ago, I did an exercise in appreciative goal setting, and I got myself all set up to start to take the next steps for things that I would like to be doing. So I want to figure out how to get into the PhD program for human flourishing, which hopefully will be approved and ready and open in 2025. I want to continue writing more poetry and also publish my poetry. I want to start a community for whole being and figuring out how to do that and what the right format is for doing that. And also do want to write a book. So I had set some goals, I've done appreciative goal setting, which basically is thinking back on my history in areas where I already had some success with the types of goals that I was setting for myself. And then imagining a fantastic future. Like, if I accomplish all these goals that I set for myself now, what does that feel like? What does that look like? What would that be like? And then I went through and set some long-term, medium-term, and short-term goals for reaching, basically breaking it down into achievable and measurable chunks to get to my goals. And then the short-term goals were the checklist or to-do lists, if you will, to get to them. Now, when I tried to implement this, I was super excited, super motivated, tried to jump into this at 200%. This is my way. I get excited and I want to jump in at 200% and get it done. What I did was schedule out my weeks with certain time slots during the day when I would work on different things. And I was fairly rigid about it. This maybe carried over a little bit from my corporate leadership days, where my days had to be tightly controlled and my schedule tightly controlled because there was so much packed into it. When I tried to do that now, what I discovered was that my days are no longer that rigid, number one. Number two, it's summertime, so school break, and my kids were on school break, and I found that things kept coming up and popping up during the day, and I could not be that rigid. My days were more fluid than that. And so I got frustrated with it. And then I came across this idea of chaord or chaotic systems, which is basically you have chaos and then you have order, and where the two overlap. Terrible demonstration here, but where the two circles overlap, chaos, order, the two circles overlap, that's where you get chaord. And that means essentially having some guidelines or some loose goals and then letting them happen within the flow, or being fluid about it. You'll move to them when you can and as you can, but letting it happen in the flow and just, organically. And so that felt a little bit better. And I have been slowly making progress in that way, but maybe not quite as quickly as I wanted to, because I am an achiever. It is one of my personal strengths. When I jump in, I am ready to jump in at 200%. So I have been a little impatient with myself and feeling let's go, and, unsettled and really ready to get into this. So today I learned from one of my classmates a system that they do, which is basically accomplishment appreciation. So it's they take a look at their day, they write down the accomplishments that they had from the day, and things like the actual actions that they took and what they feel about it, the emotion that's associated with it. So today I did 4 hours of classwork, including a 1 hour workshop given by one of my peers. And I feel accomplished. by getting that work done today because, each week has a course load. So that's an example of an accomplishment for me today. Then at the end of the week, going back and looking at all the accomplishments that I wrote down from that week and kind of summarizing what I did. And then even at the end of the month, taking those weekly summaries and rolling them up into the month. Now, I have only done this for today. The first day I started doing this, and it was because the workshop that my student peer gave, this was an idea that he came up with, and he's been practicing it for a while, and he shared it with us and taught us how to do it and taught what some of his results were. I think this is brilliant. I'm so motivated to try it. It's both the, capturing the plan and the to-do list, and that's part of it, but also I forget all the actions I take day to day. I forget. It just, some days I'm like, wow, today was really busy, but it's not necessarily there in my memory. And until it's some huge milestone or accomplishment, like you get your diploma because you graduated, or some big achievement, you don't necessarily remember and think about each day to day that you showed up to class being a significant part of that accomplishment. But this process of jotting them down quickly, I did this and I feel like that about it, and then at the end of the week summarizing it, at the end of the month summarizing it, it highlights those accomplishments in such a way that it starts to build self-esteem and belief in yourself and appreciation for the journey and each step along the way that you're taking. So thank you so much to my classmate for teaching me this method. I cannot wait to give it a try. I had to talk about it today because all through this process of, I just got an eyelash in my eye, all through this process of this personal self-development experiment with finding my way with pie. I've also talked about some of the techniques that I try. Some of them, I may have said once or twice on pie and haven't necessarily come back to it and talked about it, but I do continue to do them. One of those other techniques is that, when I'm having a strong emotion, instead of saying I am frustrated or I am angry, I'll say I'm having the thought that I'm frustrated, or I'm having the thought that I'm angry. In fact, I did that today with our kids. We were going to go school clothes shopping this afternoon, and then the plan got all weird, and we're like a family circus sometimes. And as we were leaving and we were driving away, and I just kind of like pulled slowly through the neighborhood and kind of pulled off for a second, and I said, I'm having the thought that I am super scattered with this. I'm having the thought that I feel like we don't have a plan, and it's like dinner time and everybody's a little stressed, and what are we, let's get a plan together. And I think, to my kids' credit, they really stopped and helped to have that conversation with me, and then we got our game plan and we went, and it ended up working out just fine. But little moments like that when you're feeling overwhelmed, well, I had maybe, I've got 200% excitement for this transition in my life and beginning, the things that I want to be working on, publishing my work and building a community and those types of things. And it feels a little overwhelming sometimes because it's new, and I'm ready to be able to write down the accomplishments each day, roll them up into the week, and then roll them up into the month, so that maybe it'll help the unsettled piece of this settle just a little bit, because it'll help kind of fuel the flames of that belief in myself that I can, when I look at what I actually am doing and appreciating it. So had to share it and reflect on how I'm feeling about it. Thanks for being with me on this journey. I'm so glad that you're here. I hope it helps you too. I'll see you tomorrow.